First, make sure you record each player's name on the player 1 and player 2 spot on the top of your sheet. Next, player 1 spins each spinner to get the dimensions for their array. I spun a 2 and a 3, so I will have to make a rectangle with those dimensions. So I use my dimensions 2 times 3 to make a rectangle, and then with your color black, you are going to fill in the area. You don't have to put it in the corner, but I'm trying to be strategic and leave room for all of my other arrays, so it might be smart to start in the corner. Then it would be player 2's turn, so they would spin each of the spinners. It landed on 3 and 4, so they would make a rectangle with the dimensions 3 and 4. Then it goes back to player 1's turn, and you keep alternating until each player has had 4 turns. Each time you draw a new rectangle, you should be using a different color. Here's where it might get tricky. I spun a 6 and a 4, which makes an area of 24, but I have no room on my array to draw a rectangle with an area of 24. If that happens, you have to split the array into 2 areas, and you have to make sure that you use one of the dimensions for each rectangle. So that means that each of my rectangles has to have a dimension of 6 or a dimension of 4. So I chose to keep the 6 in my dimensions, and I had to do a 6 by 2 and a 6 by 2. 2 12s instead of 1 24, because otherwise it wouldn't have fit. Player 2 spun a 5 and a 6, which makes 30, and there is room on their array to put the 30. So they have room to put it here and not have to break it up into 2 different pieces. After your 4 turns are done, the player who got closer to 100 wins. So we need to record that on our record sheet to see who won by adding up all of the areas. After adding up all of the areas, it was a very close game. Player 1 had 77 points and player 2 had 78 points. All that's left to do is answer the questions on the bottom of the sheet. So who won? Player 2 won. How close was the winner to 100? They were 22 points away from 100. And how many more points did the winner have than the other player? Just 1. Player 2 won by 1 point.